Hello everybody, hope you're all doing well. Long time no see. So this video is going to be focused on our time in Oman and then my one day that I spent in Mumbai before, this might date this video a little bit, before heading back for Christmas. So you can see how far behind I am. But I hope you enjoy. So the very first thing we did in Oman was we rented a car and drove out to see some wadis in the desert, but first we got a meal. So the person you just saw at the end of that last video just paid for our breakfast. And now this is the second time this has happened. Anyway, so the people here are very, very friendly.
It's awesome.
Over and over again. So.
Oh yeah, and our taxi driver last night just gave us the ride for basically free.
Yeah. That was maybe, yeah.
That was a little bit different. That's 'cause we couldn't find change.
Yeah, we have a
but
50.
It was still nice.
It was like $100. And it's like no one, we've tried to split it so many times, no one can split it. Doesn't matter. The point is he was still willing to give it for free, which is so nice of him. But anyways. So after we got our car, we drove about 2 hours down the coast to go visit Wadi Shab and Wadi Tiwi, which were two wadis that were recommended to us by, I believe, a Norwegian guy and someone from Oman. So we were excited to check them out, and the drive down was super, super cool. The desert was really unique. As you can see, it had all these like spiky rocks jutting up from the sand, which made it look extremely inhospitable, way worse than any other the deserts we had been in, but it's very, very pretty. And the ocean itself was also very gorgeous with the white kind of rocks and sand leading straight up to it. But the very first one we got to was Wadi Tiwi, and we were planning to drive into it. And we heard some kind of thing saying, it's easy, it's not. But we ended up getting, this guy was like, hey, like, you shouldn't drive up there. Give me, 5 Omani, and I'll take you up there. And thank God we did, because it was a narrow, extremely steep, winding road. But we made it to Wadi Tiwi, and this is what it looks like. And it was so, so pretty. I mean, these crystal clear waters in this canyon with lush trees and vegetation everywhere. But you look up and it's just desert. So it was kind of a funky position to be. And we actually found a chain and we climbed down into the canyon some, which was really cool. And then again, the drive in and out was super cool because there were people living along, like historically have been living along this wadi for a very long time. So it was cool to see kind of the settlement patterns along the way towards it and how the tourist industry has influenced it. And then afterwards we headed to Wadi Shab, which is not far up the road, but this one you actually take a ferry over to get to the start, which was kind of cool. We are at Wadi Shab right now. As you can see, we just took a ferry, and then it's about a 45-minute hike or so in to see the wadi. So let's go check it out. So Wadi Shab was probably about equally as gorgeous as Wadi Tiwi. Difference was it was way more popular. So there were a ton of tourists there, lots of people kind of coming in and out of the canyon. But there's a good reason for it. So there was this beautiful water all the way up, and you could swim and walk to it, and then there was a little cave at the end which you can kind of squeeze through, which was cool. Aran and I did it, and I did not bring my camera, but it was so cool that I'm like, I need to get videos of this. So I actually zoomed back out after finishing it and then zoomed back in with my camera, and I didn't have a waterproof case, so I was basically just swimming in the water taking all these videos, and if I dropped it, then my phone would disappear for good. So thank God I didn't, but I think it was well worth it. And then after that, we drove back up, and the drive up was, I don't know what to say, it was equally as gorgeous. At this point, the sun was starting to set a little bit, so we got some pink in the sky, and it was just nice to be kind of driving on the right side of the road. That's what I'm talking about. And then we ended that day by getting a little food. And the very next day, we actually had another fun activity planned. We started by getting a little coffee, or Ryan got some coffee, and then we headed out on a boat and went to these islands not far from Muscat, which is where there was a bunch of really good snorkeling, and the snorkeling there really was awesome. We saw a bunch of sea turtles. I mean, there were sea turtles everywhere, and we could get really close to them, which was really cool. And I think my favorite part is we saw pufferfish, which was pretty fun. I did not get close to it because those things are venomous. And then at one point we stopped and we were able to walk around the island some. So I kind of did a little solo tromp. It was hot, but it was an island, and kind of walked around some, and it was really cool. There wasn't anything growing on the island, but it was very much just
little touristy thing, which was cool. And then me getting this epic video of me coming out over the rock. Oh yeah, that was my second try. The first one didn't look very good. And yeah, it was really fun. I had a great time. So that night we had some absolutely delicious pit meat. So this is the lamb cooked underground with rice, which was so good. Not as good as in the UAE, but still amazing. And then we briefly went to a mall because one, there was an indoor ski rink, which I guess is like a thing there. I guess you can't really have it anywhere else. It's just so weird to see that several times. And then also in a grocery store nearby, we found, just an unbelievable amount of dates, and they all looked so good. I'm so obsessed with the dates from the Gulf. It's just unbelievable. I will never be able to look at dates the same. But the reason we actually went there is we're trying to kill some time before we can make it into our hotel, and there was an IKEA. So we went and we got IKEA meatballs and just explored some, which was kind of goofy. After we checked into our hotel, though, we explored some of the historic district of Muscat, which is where some of the more people lived and kind of where a lot more of the tourism was. And that was a little cafe that we were playing chess at. And here, right, is the waterfront of the kind of original historic Muscat. And there's a castle kind of overlooking, which we didn't end up going into because it was like $30 or something. It was ridiculous. We're like, it looks cool from the bottom. And then afterwards, we went to the souk, which was, like every other souk, all connected to big souk,
Hell yeah, baby. We're having shawarma tonight in our hotel. We got the chicken. We got some garlic sauce, olives, a big honking block of cheese, chicken again. We got some hot sauce, some pomegranate molasses, orange juice, bread, of course. It's gonna be good. We're doing a little hike before we go get dinner. Yeah.
I'll tell you, this hike was like nothing else. It was completely barren. Just these as I talked about earlier, just these mountains of rock, and we were kind of walking in between them the entire time. It was very pretty, and there was also nobody there, so we kind of had it all to ourselves. And luckily, it put us right in front of our restaurant that we were eating that night. After a little bit of a confusing part midway with some sort of gondola thing being made, which kind of was made on top of the path, so obviously not many people used it. But then we got to our restaurant, which was absolutely delicious. It was It was a Greek restaurant, and it was so good. We had an amazing wine. We were missing having some alcohol because you couldn't get it anywhere in Oman. It was a fun time. And then we went to bed and then woke up the next day, which was our last day in Muscat, and we checked out the opera house. There were no operas we could get into, sadly, because they were all booked out, but they did have a music museum of Oman, which was super cool. We were able to go in there and look at all the different kind of historic instruments, and this right here was a little video that was playing, kind of labeling the different eras and periods and music styles all throughout the different reaches of Oman, which was super cool, and I learned a lot. And then there was a music library, which we both spent a lot of time looking at the different kind of musical pieces that had come to the opera, some stuff that actually reminded me a little bit of the Bangor Folk Festival, and then we stopped at this little plaza here, got some coffee, and kind of finished our day there. And this actually is me driving the very next morning, early in the morning, 2 a.m, to head to Mumbai.
I am on my way to India. I'm at the Muscat airport. It's 1:40 in the morning. I got my Lucky Travel scarf on. I'm ready to go.
So the flight to Mumbai was much easier than the flight from Mumbai. The only problem I ran into was I had a problem with my visa because it wouldn't load, and they would not give me Wi-Fi to make it load. So I was just kind of stuck for a little bit. It was really annoying. But after I finally made it out of the airport, I hopped in a taxi and made it to my hotel. And even though the air quality was still pretty bad, it was 200, 250, I really wanted to explore because I only had the one day in Mumbai before I headed home for Christmas. So first thing I did is I found the public train system, and I hopped on the train. It was kind of difficult to get to because people kept cutting in the line to get the tickets, which was annoying. But the train was really cool. They had certain carriages dedicated for women, certain carriages dedicated to cancer patients, but you could lean out of the train, which was really fun, and it just about fit 4 people. And because trains were always packed, there were always 4 people waiting in line and 4 people leaning out the door, which was pretty cool to see. And the very first thing I did once I got out is I found this little rugby square and explored that some, which was really fun.
So I've made it to downtown Mumbai, and behind me is the gateway to India, which was constructed because the Queen of England came to visit India. So they built this for them to commemorate that visit. So that's, fun. Also, the very last British troops left through this gateway right here. So the gateway to India is also like a gateway to independence as well. So cool stuff.
So right behind the gateway to India was the harbor, and it doesn't really show very well in this video, but it was very smoggy. Like that smog you see in the background is not that far in the background. Even so, it was cool to see. And then I continued to walk around some. The city actually reminded me a lot of like Paris. It felt like if you took Paris and you put it in India, which I guess makes sense because it's a pretty European inspired. I mean, it's the British kind of capital in India. So, I mean, it's very European inspired. Anyways, but I stopped and got a bunch of food spots. So right there, this sandwich is a pave, which was really tasty. And I went to this like super local place. They just sat you down in this like little room, and you could kind of only order that. So it's really good. And then I walked into the big kind of market area. I was looking for spices and tea, which I found some really good ones. And it was cool to just kind of walk around some and explore and, see what Mumbai had to offer. It was really unique and felt very different from the other places in India that I had been. So by the end of the day, I made it to the beach, which was actually very pretty. Huge sand beach. It seemed like a great place to relax. Good views, and it was like, the city went right up to it, which was really cool. But then afterwards, I hopped back on the train, which was even busier than it was before, as this video right here shows. I mean, it was packed. And I made it back to my room and pretty much went to bed because I was very tired and my lungs hurt a little. The start of it all. Long trip back. Here it is. It is 1:50 in the morning. I've been awake for about 30 minutes or so. So, let's do this thing. And then I was off. I hopped aboard my plane with pretty much no problem. Made it to Istanbul, and the stop in Istanbul was nice and smooth, and then made it all the way to Boston, where my brother picked me up in Portland. Now, of course, when I was in the Istanbul airport, I always get Popeyes. I don't know why, but it's become a tradition of mine. Kind of crazy that I can have a tradition about being in the airport.
Thanks for watching. So I didn't take any footage over Christmas break because, it was Christmas. It was a fantastic time. It was nice to be home and back with family and be back in the United States for a little bit, get some good food, and see the snow. Lovely. But the next video is actually gonna be after Christmas. So it will be in Jordan, where I meet up with Orion and his mother, Sean, and stepfather, Kevin. And it was an absolutely fantastic time. So that's in the next one. What to look forward to. I'm lost in the desert. Where am I? Oh, shit. The blazing sun.